Hi, I'm Peter from Copy Parts, and today we're looking at Fiorenzato's conical grinder, the F71EK. So the Fiorenzato F71EK as a conical grinder sits between Fiorenzato's two flat blade grinders, the F64 Evo being a 64mm flat and the F83E being an 83mm flat blade. Now to Australia, they all come out with the red speed blade, which makes a big difference, but overseas you can get them in the normal steel blade or the red speeds. Diving into it, there's a big debate between conical and flat for espresso, and different schools of thought have different beliefs. In Australia, the flat blade grinder for espresso has become a lot more popular, and for filter, definitely is the most popular. But there's still a school of thought that loves the conicals, and for that reason, Fiorenzato have this grinder. Now with the Fiorenzato lineup, you've got three models: the 64 flat, 73 conical, 83 flat, and then within that you got four variants. So you got the standard grinders, you got the grinders with the Pro feature, which effectively means you got two clamps here, which you can remove the grinding collar to change the blades or clean it out very easily and quickly. And you got the XGI, which is grind by weight instead of time. And with the XGI, you can also get that in the Pro feature. And there's your four variants. Along all those variants though, one thing that remains in common is the hopper, and it runs a 1.5 kilo hopper across the range. So if you were to have two or three grinders banked up, call it one for decaf, one for single origin and one for your house blend, they would look quite neat as the looks maintain and the hoppers are identical. And from that perspective, I do like things that tie in neatly. When it comes to the actual grinder, you've got the portafilter support, which is adjustable to be able to hold your portafilter in neatly. And you've also got the ability to pull out your dosage chute really easily, just like that, by pulling it out for cleaning and putting it back in. So it just makes cleaning the exit chute and any retention super easy. Now what sets these grinders apart from others in the market is the control that you can get through the screen on it. With this screen, this particular one's been set up for a franchise. So every time you go into the settings menu, you do have to put in the password, but you can disactivate this feature and allow the screen to be easily accessible. On the screen, you have your single and double shot, but you can go into the menu and also have your triple shot. So single, double, and triple. Within that, at the moment, you can see what the time is set for each of these. So 1.5 seconds for the single and 2.8 for the double. You can hide that if you want or show it, and you can also show at the top here, which we've got it turned off at the moment, the statistics. So how many coffees it's done per day, per month, etc. The reason you might want to hide it is, for example, you might not want your employees knowing how many coffees the cafe's been doing, or you might want them to know. It's completely up to you. In this case, it's got a password once you go in. And the reason they've done that is because they only want the manager to be able to go in and set this grinder up. But that can be turned off in the settings as well. Once you go in here, you can actually choose how you want the grinder to be activated. So there's multiple ways. You want it to grind when you press the single and double, or do you want to press a single or double just to let the grinder know what you're planning on doing, and it will grind when the portafilter hits this switch here. So when you push in the portafilter, so if you hit the double and you push the portafilter in, the double will grind out. Or do you want it to grind by the number of times you hit the switch? So put in your portafilter for single, or put your portafilter and just tap it twice for double, or do you want to grind on demand? Completely up to you. Going back, you can also, we've got showing grind times on, but you can turn that off, and we had statistics off, we can turn that on. So now we'll show the statistics up there and it won't show independent grinds. And you can turn on your triple if you wanted to. Below here, you got your normal user interface, kind of like your display brightness. You want the dark or light theme, time, date, etc. Going back on, now you can see we've got single, double, and triple. We've hidden the timing of each one and we've allowed for the statistics up there. If you wanted to change the timing, a quicker way to do it is just hit timing here. Because we've got this set up with a password, you do have to put it in. But you got your single, you can go up to say 1.6 seconds or 1.5, 1.51. It's to 0.1 of a second. You got your double, and then if you just swipe across, you got your triple. So if we were to then just change the double to 8.0, once we hit home, it's now locked in. So very easy to calibrate the menu and adjust your timing, how the menu works, how the grinder works. If you do forget any of this, you can turn off your grinder, turn it back on, and when it turns on, it does have a QR code. So if you scan the QR code with your phone, you can see the manual to the grinder if you'd forgotten there's a QR code, if you'd forgotten anything about this grinder. So when it comes to dialing in, very simple. You've got a lock back here, just press it down, then go counterclockwise for finer and clockwise for coarser. And it is a stepless grinder, so you can really adjust to the nth degree. Going back to the collar here, if it was the Pro, to remove and clean the grinder, you could just unclamp it, lift it up, and it's super easy to clean, and you'd put it back together without losing your grind adjustment. On this one, to pull it apart and clean, you have to unwind it all the way to the coarser setting, and then when you put it back in, you do have to dial it back in. So you do go through a little bit of coffee doing that, like most grinders. And this one's got the fan mechanism on the back. To Australia, all the grinders do come with a fan system on the back, not only because we are in a hotter climate, but we're quite a busy espresso climate. Cafes in Australia really are doing big volume. Another cool thing is that Fiorenzato paired up with Puck Press and built a puck press, the Puck Press M4, to fit perfectly under the grinder. So Puck Press is an electronic tamper, which adds to the consistency. So on this grinder, you could effectively grind directly into your portafilter and then push your portafilter into your puck press and tamp automatically. If you took it one step further and got this grinder as an XGI, so grind by weight instead of by time, you could grind out perfectly whatever weight you wanted, to say 20 grams, and then tamp perfectly to whatever pressure you wanted. So you get that super consistent result. So you're grinding 20 grams, you're tamping, and you remove two big variables out of the coffee equation to give that coffee in, coffee out consistency throughout the day. Talking about grind by weight, with the Fiorenzato, they've done things differently. So it's actually the base of the grinder that's holding the portafilter, and the scale's actually weighing the grinder. As it grinds out the coffee, it's obviously weighing less, the whole grinder, and that's how it works out the weight. And that means it doesn't have to calibrate the portafilter on every attempt, like you get with other grinders where you put in the portafilter, it thinks, calibrates the portafilter and then grinds, and then takes an average and uses fuzzy logic to work it out. In this case, it's weighing the grinder, which is calibrated a lot more often. The one thing to note is if you do have an XGI or grind by weight Fiorenzato, it does need to be on the solid bench because any vibration in the bench can throw the weight off. So going back to it, this grinder sits in the middle of the range, being the conical, and you do have the F64 flat and the F83 flat, being 64 mils and 83 mils flat. I'm curious to know, would you go flat or conical? Which of the range do you have? Do you have one? Are you looking at one? Or do you have any questions on these grinders for me? Let me know in the comments below. Like always, if this video has brought you value, hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. See you on the next video. Thank you.